Yeah, g'day everyone, Brett here and welcome to Reliance Australia. So this week I thought I'd just do a short video on wrapping up a few of the jobs that we've had going on around the place, and so in particular wrapping up Demolition Time Part 1 and Part 2 so you can see the end result of all the work that was done for, but also just some of the things I've been doing over the last couple of weekends with tidying up around the property. And as you'd suspect, like living out here on property is different to living in the suburbs where all you have to really do is do some edging and cut your grass. So let's have a look at some of those jobs that I've been up to. Let's go have a look. So you might remember I had a whole heap of railing across the back of the deck, and this is the end result. So I've cut off the old, and you can see some of those spots where I've replaced those decking boards right there, and you can't see, oh yeah, maybe over there in the corner over there as well, just over about there, where I've got some new deck boards in. But this is the end result that we've got. Now I did install these glass panels myself. They were professionally done, and that was because they had to be done under a building permit. So under the local council rules, I couldn't do those myself. I had to have a building permit raised and approved. Then I had to have a builder come in. Then I had to have a building surveyor come in afterwards and inspect the fact that they had been done. Now part of that I'm suspecting is because it is actually for the spa. Also we do get a lot of high winds through here as well, so you probably don't want glass panels coming off. But look, I am really happy with the job that the guys did installing them. Look, they are nice and solid. Got nice stainless steel mounts, and that's the end result. Now in some ways it is a nice clean look. Having these on the deck has reduced some of the size or usable space that we used to just be able to walk around. But you can see these holes on the deck there. I used to have a big umbrella there, but that can no longer go back there, even though it would probably fit, because that would be too close to the pool fence, which would be allowing some eager child to climb it and get over the top of the fence. So basically it has to be just how it is. You can see that the spa is filling up. It's a little bit greeny tinge at the moment because I've just dumped a load of chlorine in there to give it a bit of a clean out as well. So that's the end result of all that work. Now that did take some time. It didn't take too long to get the fencing done. Actually, the guys that came and did it all in a day. Now underneath the deck is a lot of blocking, so they've had to put extra support and extra reinforcing underneath. So there's a lot of timber blocks that have been mounted in underneath for those mounts to go into, which makes them all solid and makes them pass the building code. But all up, very happy with the end result. What I do like about it is that now when we are using the spa, you can actually see straight through, so there's no obstruction to the view. And look, that is a glorious view. Of a night time it's just spectacular. When we get the clear skies, you just see the stars, and there's very little to no light pollution because we are out in the country. Town is sort of over that sort of direction, so a few kilometres away, and so it's not a big town. This time of year though, it can get busy around Easter and Christmas because it's sort of a holiday destination, but for us it's nice and quiet, and you just get a beautiful scenery and you get that beautiful night show when it's a nice clear night. So today I'm out in the yard, out reasonably early, not super early, but it's a bit overcast, so it looks a bit darker than it probably really is. But today my job is to start cleaning up the grass. I'll just put that around. So it's getting a little bit long in places because we've had a couple of wet weekends and we've been away doing things. But also importantly, I need to start taking off some of the lower branches. So that's what I'll be doing, and also I'm going to start actually with the branches because I won't have any motors going, so it won't be annoying the neighbours. Not that they're that close, but won't be annoying anyone in their house either. So I'll get the saw out, start sawing them off. Also need the brush cutter out today because that is starting to get long around certain parts of the house, and then tomorrow as well. So we'll see how we go. But anyway, let's go get into it. So you can see some of these branches here are almost touching the ground, so that makes it very, very difficult to mow around. I know it probably looks very pretty, but it's very difficult to mow around, and as I see that part that comes across there, very hard to get your head around. If we go up through the driveway a bit more, we had a guy come in to clean out the septic tank with his truck a month or so back, and he actually said he wouldn't come back in next time if we hadn't trimmed some of these branches back. But you can see at the gate, we've got this branch that's hanging down. It takes you sort of run into it every time you're trying to open the gate. But if I turn around slowly, our driveway is just getting overgrown. So we've got some trees there, got some branches just over here, they're coming down, some more sort of about there. So the camera focuses on my finger and not the branch. So as you come through, we're starting to do a bit of a slalom course, trying to dodge all the branches as you come through. So we've got these ones down there that you have to get around, and already the ones that we talked about that need to come off. But that's where I'm going to start, and I'll be heading down the paddock to do some more of the other ones as well. On some of the other trees that are very hard to get around. Some of them I actually can't get around anymore. I'm starting to mow around the branches as opposed to underneath the branches, which is not the ideal place to be. So let's get into the shed and get some tools. So this is a saw I'll be using. It's the Fiskars. It's got the quick fit 4 meters, so it actually extends out to 4 meters. Look, I really like that saw. It works really well. One of the things that I did have a challenge with when we first moved down here is that I was commuting from the city down to the country, and on the way home I had to go past the Bunnings store all the time, and as I did, I'd always call in and buy stuff. This is one of those things that I did buy, and like to extend, you just literally push that button and it just slides out and locks back in, so it works exceptionally well, cuts really well also. Yeah, nice piece of kit. Well, that's what I'll be using today, because it'll be nice and quiet. No one's going to be here, and we move around near the house and around the property. So to get started, I had to get rid of some of the blackberry. The blackberry vines were just really wrapped around some of these branches, so it got a bit messy. But look, just had to drag it out of the way, then cut through the tree branches, so it went really well. So I'm now about an hour into the morning. I've cleaned out around the fence, and this is like our entryway at our gate, so it is important to try and keep that tidy. And I know my wife wants to put some flowers and some little shrubs in there, which I think will look quite nice coming through that timber as people come into the gate. It's going to look a lot nicer than having just the brambles or the blackberries growing through there, although they were nice and tasty for a few weeks. The rest of the year looks pretty bad. So as we spin around, you can see this is now opened up a lot, taking off some branches through here. It's definitely now going to be clear enough for a truck to get through. Definitely a lot better for our cars, because even in the cars I was having to try and drive around the bushes. But now, look, I may need to take this one off at some stage if we get, like, next time a truck does come in, because I think that'll scrape on the top of the truck. So that one may need to come off. Maybe not that one, but definitely this one here will probably need to come off. But I'm happy to leave that one as it is at the moment. You can see I've also cleaned up around these gum trees here. So look, this one particularly, the branches are getting very low. They are touching the ground, as you could see from the photo before. And like, it was actually hitting, just about ripping my head off every time I mowed around here. Actually, it probably wasn't just about every time, it was every time. It'd either catch on my earmuffs or just dig into my head and leave a big hole through there, which then blood profusely poured out of. And it just made things a little bit unpleasant
I'll leave it at that. Hey, how about we use that for a word? Unpleasant would be the word I'll use. Probably not the word I used at the time when it opened my skull up, but it will be for today. Yeah, we'll leave it there. But look, I didn't want to get too carried away with this tree because this is actually one of our trees that our koalas particularly love. And so I don't like to mess around with it too much because the koalas are in there quite a bit and they do enjoy sitting in there and hanging out. We've had quite a few little babies sort of living in that tree over the last few years. So that's where I'm up to so far. So the next piece now will be this row of trees here. Now you can see some of these branches down through here starting to hang down low, and like they'll start to catch. Well, they are starting to catch now. So they're not as thick and heavy as the ones on that other gum tree. Just look, they were actually the big one I had to take off was quite heavy. But these will have to come off. You can see some of these little ones over here are starting to grow out, so I just trim them back so I can actually get around the tree and get around the base of the tree and cut nice and neatly. But like as you see through here, you can see probably half a dozen or a dozen branches that are blocking the way of my head. Not so much the mower, but really my upper body. And so when that catches, it does hurt a lot. So that's where I'm up to now. Let's have a look at our pile, shall we? So basically what I've been doing is putting that onto a bonfire, and that's where we're up to now after about an hour or so. Look, there's a lot of weight in it, so it's actually compressed fairly well, but there'll be a lot more to go yet. So now I'm down on the gum trees, down on the slope. You can see some of these branches are, they got a bit of weight to them, but they're right onto the ground, so I can't actually mow through them anymore. It's getting really tricky. Like I'm just watching where I'm walking because there's a snake that hangs out around this area. But look, I'll probably need to take this one off back up there a bit more. But what I find, because these gum branches do have a lot of weight, especially out here towards the edges, if sometimes you can take them off halfway through and that's enough weight to come off the branch to lift the rest of the branch up. So that's what I'm trying to do, so I'm not hacking the tree completely apart. And this is another one that I do need to take some lower branches off. As you can see, the grass is getting a bit long underneath because I have literally had to mow around these branches. They're coming out down low, and because of the weight of the leaves and stuff at the end, it's sinking down. I can no longer get the mower underneath that. So there's probably going to be at least one or two here, and maybe a couple of the smaller ones that are hanging out up there as well. And that should just about see me done. Look, I've been chopping these branches off now for a good couple of hours this morning. The bonfire up in the paddock, top paddock there, is getting pretty big. It's well and truly above my head now. I'm struggling to get the branches up on top of it. I'm almost having to start making it a bit wider as opposed to taller. But I do know over time, it'll be a few months before I burn it off. It'll just compress with time. But anyway, that's where we're up to. I'll show you some after shots. So there's one of them done. So what I've done now, I've cut all the branches off and taken them all up onto the pile. So the burn off pile, the bonfire pile, is twice as wide and twice as high as it was before I started this morning. I've walked 5.5 kilometers. That's on the second half, so that didn't count the first 2 hours I did this morning. So I could probably add another couple of kilometers to that. And so that'd been a tough 5 kilometers just quietly, because I'm cutting up big, heavy branches. So this tree here, I'll see if I can get a photo of it to put with it, but like that's the after shot. So that will be so much easier for me to get around. Even this one here, this blackwood coming through there, I've trimmed off some of the smaller branches which stopped me from getting in close to around the bottom of it. But this one here, you can see those two branches just there. They were really heavy. And look, I'm not carrying them, to be honest. I'm actually dragging them because they're that heavy. So it's a decent workout. As we come across to this old gum here, you would have seen this morning that a lot of the branches were on the ground. Now these ones are still down a little bit, but look, I can get around them. They're fairly light, but like here, they were right on the ground. And over here as well, there's a couple through there that were touching on the ground. And so I was have to driving through them. And unfortunately, like when you do drive sort of through the branch, sometimes the branches get caught under the wheels. And so it gets a little bit messy. And when you're on a hill, like you can sort of see the slope here, but the slope's not ideal. Like, it's when you go up and down, you don't want to go across, because I have gone across once. It's not nice you only do once. When the wheels tip up and you think you're going to have a 300-400 kilo mower land on top of you, and you don't do it a second time. So this is the other stand. Like this stand, I don't normally do a lot of brush cutting around these trees because I like to be able to get in close, but you can see some of the branches off I've taken off here, and definitely through here. There's a whole heap of them. You can probably see there and there where I've trimmed them. They were just hanging onto the ground. And to finish off over there, that tree there was down really quite low, so I was actually taking my head off every week on that one. So with a bit of luck, that won't happen again this week. Now, I did have plans to actually do a lot of mowing as well today, but you know, it's now about 6 hours later than what I thought. And so I've decided to call it quits for the day. So I'm happy. So there we go, that's another job done. Look, that was actually more than I thought it was going to take today. Like I said, I thought maybe a couple of hours might have pulled me up, but it's actually been about 6 hours, so maybe not quite, maybe 5. So I started at 9, it's now nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or just after. So it has taken me longer than I thought, but look, that's the type of stuff that we have to do when you've got property and you need to look after it. Because part of it is making sure that you look after it for the property's sake and the trees, because some of the branches I actually cut so to give light and movement for the trees around them as well, because they were starting to get starting to die back, but also for your own well-being and safety, so my head hopefully won't get taken off anymore. So that's always a bonus. But anyway, look, if you enjoyed that, please give us a big thumbs up. Look, if you think someone would like to subscribe, please share it with your friends, or if you haven't subscribed already and you would like to, that would always be greatly appreciated as well. Until next time, I'll see you then.